Just wanted to show the homemade Lot-O-Tumbler that I made. Right now, Lot-O-Tumblers are hard to come by. I don't think they're going to be available until sometime the end of April of 2024. So since I figured I couldn't buy one, I would try to make one on my own. You can buy the buckets. They're just the container that they tumble in. You can buy those replacement ones for $50. So I thought that's the main component of it. So I just sort of figure out how I could incorporate one of those into my own build. So what I basically did was bought one of those buckets and lid, looking at $53 with that and the lid. I purchased just a 2.5 quart bucket from Lowe's that was about $6. Then I just put a 4x4 base on it and screwed that into just a flat piece of shelving wood, and then on the back of it I mounted a vibrating motor. You can buy these motors pretty cheaply, and they seem to hold up really well. I've been running this one for almost 3 months now with no issues. I do run a small fan behind it to blow on the motor to keep it cool. Cooler a motor runs, the longer they tend to last. So inside of that motor there's little counterweights, and with those you can adjust them how strong you want the vibration. So I started it off with the lowest amount of vibration and just moved it up one step, and that was enough to really get the rocks rolling inside of here in the tumbler. Just took that 4x4 base, screwed it to this, then I took 2 pieces of well, it's actually 1 by 36 inch piece of aluminum bar, and I cut that in half and just screwed that into the 4x4, and then bolted the vibration motor through this and bolted it through screws into the bucket itself. And I just place, since the bucket is a little bit larger around than the tumbler barrel, Lot-O barrel here, I just stuffed some sort of rubberized material. This stuff actually was excess from what you put in the bottom of cabinets, the pad cabinet. Well, like drawers, if you're putting drawer liners in, this is just a padded version of that. But I wrapped it around it, and it packs pretty tight, and it allows the tumbler to sit in there, the barrel to sit in there good and tight and get the vibration, but not wear the outside of the barrel up against the screws that come through here or the barrel itself. And I just used 2 bungee cords to hold the cap on and make sure this stays good and tight on there. 2 Harbor Freight small bungees lock into here. I just removed the bucket or pail's handle that comes across, and it makes a good place to hook on these metal bungee cords. You can hook one here and then one up under the base and strap it across to the other side. Holds everything in place and makes it easy just to unlatch and look down into the tumbler. These screws on here, just make sure to use good lock washers if you put one on, to where it won't vibrate back out. But after probably a little over 2 months of continuous use, this has stayed pretty tight. It hasn't vibrated loose at all. This part doesn't shake. It's a good snug fit on the top and the bottom down here with it. I'll show you a little bit later and how well it tumbles the stuff. I can just pop these off here quickly and just access it. I've got some media in here with a few rocks tumbling at this time, but it's a pretty solid setup. With costing about $110 for all the parts involved, it looks like the new Lot-Os are going to retail for somewhere around $325 now, going up quite a bit from the $300 they were last year. Some people expect to sell them for around $369 since the cost of everything's gone up. But I'll do a good breakdown parts list below the video. If you just look below, I'll have a detailed layout of every single part I use, from the motor, bucket, the aluminum, and these boards were just scrap, so you can just cut the end off an old 4x4 and just bolt it to any flat board that you want. I just right now been setting it on cardboard, and it cuts down any vibration, and it actually, with this thing running, it seems to be quieter than the actual Lot-O-Tumbler from the factory is. I'm not sure how long this motor is going to last, but running the fan on it really extend the life of it quite a bit on keeping it cool and not overheating, and not stressing the vibration any more than you have to. When you take these cups off, really you want to set the weights to where there's just enough vibration that it gets your rocks moving well without having it too aggressive where it wears the bearings out faster. You need to take these caps off when you first get them, because the counterweights inside are set to the most offsetting weight, so all of the weight is laid to one side, and it really will shake this thing almost apart if you have it that much. And it's really only needed just barely more than the bare minimum of counterweight in there to get this thing moving and all of the rocks moving inside of it. So it's a pretty simple build. $110 is sort of hard to go wrong, and I've got a friend that's got a Lot-O-Tumbler, and this seems to be performing just as well as his Lot-O-Tumbler does, and at a third of the price, and you can actually make it now and not have to wait for a tumbler. That was a big thing for me, just not having to wait. So I've been really pleased with it. I've had no issues. It doesn't use a lot of power at all. Probably do a power comparison in another video to some of the other tumblers I have, just to see the power use on it. But it's quieter than the actual Lot-O itself. You don't have to bolt it to a concrete block like you do with the Lot-O. The vibration just kind of shakes forward and back on it instead of as much up and down as you seem to get with the Lot-O to make it tumble. So it doesn't transfer all that vibration through the floor and into the house, so you don't hear it in another room as much. When you're at the machine, you hear the buzz, but you really don't hear it in the rest of the house. So this tends to be quieter than Harbor Freight tumbler does. You know, if I can hear the Harbor Freight listening through the garage door to it, I can't hear this anything but maybe a slight buzz at the most. So been really happy with it so far. I hope it helps somebody else get into a vibrating tumbler a little bit cheaper than spending over $300 with the Lot-O. Lot-O's a good machine, but not everybody can afford one right off the bat. So hope this gives somebody some options. Appreciate it. Like the video and subscribe. I'll have more breakdown on it later and compare how much power it costs to run it. And really just hope this helps somebody out. Thanks a lot.